I want you guys to picture this. A black woman immigrant who's a Marine veteran, a Christian conservative, standing on stage running for governor. And what's waved in her face? A racist sign held proudly by a supporter of her white liberal opponent. And instead of the outrage you would normally expect to see, you get crickets, just silence. Why is that? It's because the racism came from the approved side. It came from the Democrat side. If that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about oppression, addiction, and Stockholm syndrome politics, I don't know what will. Today, we're going to talk about the heated governor's race in the state of Virginia, and I've got so much to say about it. So let's get into this. Grace and peace, you guys. Welcome back to Unshakable with April Chapman, where we discuss all things social, cultural, political, and theological from a biblical perspective. I'm your host, April Chapman, and welcome to the show. I want to go ahead and talk about the heated governor's race up in the great Commonwealth of Virginia. And I kind of want to go through these candidates at a glance because they are completely different. And what I believe the outcome is going to be, I want Winsome Sears to win. But unfortunately, the Black community, due to their addiction to Democrats, will probably fumble the bag and miss out on an amazing opportunity to be led by a Black female who is wholly qualified, not on the basis of her ethnicity, but on merit. So let's look at these candidates at a glance. On one side, you have Winsome Sears. She's a Marine veteran. She is Jamaican born. She is an immigrant. She's a businesswoman. She has served as lieutenant governor for the state of Virginia, and she is unapologetically conservative. She's pro-life, pro-parental rights, pro-school choice, pro-women's sports, pro-Second Amendment, unapologetically pro-American. I don't really know what's not to like about her. And then let's look at her opponent, Abigail Spanberger. She is your cookie cutter, run-of-the-mill Democrat politician who pretends moderation, but she votes for the most radical of leftist policies. This woman has backed legislation that lets boys invade girls' sports and locker rooms. She's pushed climate extremism that raises costs on working families. And she parrots the same progressive line on abortion up until the 9th month rhetoric. One of these candidates represents freedom. The other one represents control and wickedness. So let's examine their records so we can just get an idea of who these candidates are. Spanberger has a very oppressive political record. On one thing, let's say, for example, family and faith, she has aligned with the Equality Act, which would effectively gut religious liberty protections, forcing Christian schools and churches to bow to the LGBTQ orthodoxy, or you risk punishment. That is oppression. When it comes to education, she has supported federal overreach into local schools, backing the very policies that put government bureaucrats over parents. I told you, these Democrats believe that they share custody with your children. They believe that it's our children, not your children. Basically, they're telling you, you need to sit down, mom and dad. We know what's best for your kids. We'll raise them. As it pertains to the economy, well, she's marched lock and step with Bidenomics. She's voted for the $1 trillion spending bills that have fueled inflation and then lectures you about climate change. Meanwhile, no one can afford groceries, gas, or rent. But somehow she believes she's best suited for the job. Spanberger's oppression, it doesn't just come in a white hood. No, it comes wrapped up in legislation and policies and regulations that are tyrannical in their application. So she's basically dressed up in a pantsuit, and it's far from compassion. It's oppressive. So here's why I want to introduce this, because there was this incident, a campaign incident, that basically showed me all that I needed to know about who this Abigail Spanberger is. Okay? On the campaign trail at one of Spanberger's events, her supporters were proudly holding up signs, and one of them, she held up this racist sign mocking Winsome Sears for her anti-trans stance. Let me repeat that. A Black woman who's a veteran, a trailblazer, if I must say so, is running for governor, and the so-called party of tolerance stood by while their people waved a racist garbage sign in her face. Did Spanberger denounce it? No. First of all, it took them a real long time to issue a statement. And the question I want to ask is, do you think the media covered it with the same outrage that they would if a Republican supporter had done it? Absolutely not.
Are you going to have a biological male undressing in the same gym room as you? Full frontal, nude? That's what we're asking our high school boys and girls to be together, nude, in the same locker room. This is nonsense.
Opinions clash at a school board meeting in Arlington Thursday. And tonight, a new controversy that leaders are calling racist and abhorrent. You're watching 8 News at 6. I'm Eric Phillips.
I'm Deanna Albritton. 8 News reporter Mariah Gillad is live in the Digital Center to break it down. Mariah, where did this all begin?
Eric, Deanna, it was the discussion of the transgender bathroom policy at the school board meeting that drew a rally outside. Lieutenant Governor and Republican gubernatorial nominee Winsome Sears spoke against allowing transgender students in girls' bathrooms.
One person at the rally was holding a sign with a racist statement targeted at Earl Sears. Photos began circulating online. We got this one from the Earl Sears campaign. In it, the sign reads, quote, "Hey Winsome, if trans can't use your bathroom, then blacks can't share my water fountain." This sign has brought a whirlwind of reactions, including from Earl Sears herself. She says on X, "I'm disgusted but not surprised. This is the tolerant left Abigail Spanberger defends." She continues, "There is no place for this disgusting hatred in our Commonwealth. Anyone who doesn't condemn this sign is complicit in approving it." Governor Glenn Youngkin also credits the left for the sentiments on the sign. He says on X, "The hypocrisy of the liberal left on display again. Winsome is so much bigger than this idiocy." A spokesperson for Earl Sears' opponent and Democratic nominee for governor, Abigail Spanberger, says to 8 News, Abigail condemns this repulsive display. It's racist, abhorrent, and unacceptable.
Of course not. Because in their twisted morality play, racism is only bad when it's politically useful. This is why I call the Democrat Party the custodians of chaos. These are the high priests of hypocrisy because they will weaponize race whenever it suits them, but when their side is actually guilty of it, not a manufactured narrative that they feel is racist, but actual blatant racism, suddenly their silence is golden. So now let's talk a little bit about Stockholm syndrome politics, because this really is the deeper issue. The Black community, which is so perplexing to me, but they will still line up to vote for Abigail Spanberger. And do you want to know why that is? It's because too many have been conditioned to defend their captors. That's effectively the definition of Stockholm syndrome. Spanberger votes for policies that strip parents of their authority, redefine womanhood, bankrupt families, and mocks biblical truth. Yet Black voters, especially them church-attending ones, the ones led by the Black preachers who have sold their pulpits to the Democrat Party, they are going to campaign for her, they're going to door knock for her, and they are going to vote for her. Meanwhile, Winsome Sears, who actually represents biblical values that they claim they believe in, she represents freedom and family, she's going to be cast as the enemy. Why? Simply because she dares to wear an R. Just because she's a Republican. And so I'm going to say this very plainly. Many Black pastors are not shepherding the people of God. They are, I like to call them the barons of Blackness, where they serve as political middlemen who trade their congregation's votes for influence, photo ops, and just a seat at NASA's table. They will not rally their people to defend truth, family, or biblical values, no. But they will mobilize and they will defend Spanberger, this woman whose policies spit in the face of Scripture. How do you read Isaiah 5:20, which tells us, woe to those who call evil good and good evil, and who put darkness for light and light for darkness? What do you do with that text? Because this is effectively what we are seeing play out right here. This race isn't just political. This is spiritual. Winsome Sears represents truth, order, and the dignity of God-given freedom, and Abigail Spanberger represents deception, disorder, and bondage to the state. And here is the tragedy. Black voters who should know better, they are going to reject the one who is trying to free them and embrace the one who is keeping them in chains. It's the clearest depiction of bondage I've ever seen in modern politics. And by God's grace, I pray they prove me wrong, but I don't think I will be. So Virginia, here's the 411. Winsome Sears fights for your children, your family, your freedom of religion, your faith, and your freedom. Abigail Spanberger, on the other hand, she's fighting for woke ideology, government dependency, and the destruction of truth. If you keep voting for your oppressor, don't be surprised when you remain oppressed. Isn't that the like chorus we keep hearing y'all sing over and over again, that they oppressing you? The Democrat Party is the party of oppression. That's why you're depressed. And we're regressing backwards and we're not making any progress forward. Now, if we're living in a sane world, the choice would be obvious. But unfortunately, we are not. So the question is, why does Winsome Sears have to fight twice as hard? Well, here's the truth. If Winsome Sears ran as a Democrat without changing a single one of her positions, she would absolutely win in a landslide. Do you want to know why? It's because Black people, the Black community that is, they're not voting on principles. They're actually voting on party. It doesn't matter that Democrats have been historically and present day oppressive to them. It doesn't matter that Spanberger is championing policies that actually harm their children. What matters to many is that the little d is next to her name. This is what I call political addiction. It's the same as being hooked on something that's killing you, whether it's a cigarette, a toxic relationship, or in this case, the Democrat Party. Black people, Black America, for whatever reason, is addicted to the D. And so now I have to label this. I've talked about it before, but we're going to call it Stockholm Syndrome politics. I mean, if you think about it, Stockholm Syndrome happens when the victim starts sympathizing with their captor. They defend them. They even fight against people that are trying to help them escape. That's exactly what's happening here. Winsome Sears is the woman who looks like them, grew up like them, and is actually fighting for them. But she's rejected. Why? Why would they reject someone with common sense policies that are going to help them? It's because she dared to leave the Democrat plantation and think independently and put a little R behind her name. Meanwhile, Spanberger is the one who's voting for policies that bring chaos into schools, confusion into children's minds, and collapse into families. But she is celebrated. But here's the good news. Scripture tells us that you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. So I need you to stop voting for your chains. Stop mistaking slavery for security. Choose freedom and learn to function in it and make better decisions, not just for you, but for your future progeny and those who come behind you. But I'm curious to know, what do you guys think? Do you believe that Winsome Sears, the Black female merit-based candidate in the governor's race in the state of Virginia, do you think she has a chance to win? Or do you think that Black folks are going to do what they always do? They're going to double down, addicted to the D, and vote for the Democrat, regardless of what this woman represents and what she stands for? I'm curious to know what you think. Do not forget to follow me on all social media platforms. Check me out on Patreon. I'd love to partner with you, and it allows me to continue to make more content like this. And if you do nothing else, I want you to stand firm, stay bold, and above all else, stay unshakable. Grace and peace.